How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of In the Sand Podcast. This is episode 23, so I'm excited that you're here. Hopefully, this is the episode 23 that you've been watching, so hopefully you're 23 for 23. But I'm excited just to continue to grow this program, continue to share good content, and to really spotlight some great coaches. As always, we have another great coach on. But before I introduce him, please please share, and please subscribe. I have Coach Isaiah Butler on with us from East Mississippi Community College. He's the leader. I'm gonna call him a servant leader of the women's basketball program there. And I'm very excited to have Coach Butler on because life is funny. And what I mean by that is good because it's funny how you can know someone indirectly, and then we get an opportunity to meet them directly. It's very amazing. Of course, Candace Foster is a friend of mine. And when I'm looking at who I'm going to interview for the podcast, I'm looking at, who I'm going to reach out to. I always first reach out to people who kind of like it, subscribe, retweet. And Coach Butler was one of those guys. But even before that, Coach Foster said, hey, you got to reach out to Coach Butler. He's a solid guy, and I think he'll do amazing for this. So, Candace is always, one thing I like about Candace is Candace will, kind of similar to Coach Dixon on the men's side at Florence, they give you so much inspiration, and they just give you that juice to make you feel like, man, you can just jump over mountains. So you need more Candace Fosters in your life. And we're going to talk about her a little bit later on in the episode. But what I've learned so far from Coach Butler, and as we do these podcasts, and I told someone this earlier, a lot of the information that we talk about off camera should be recorded, because that's kind of when I get to know the coaches before they come on to the show. But just learning some things about Coach. Coach is a leader, and he is a lifelong learner, because he wants to be able to excel in every aspect of his life, and from his coaching, obviously, from his walk with Christ, from his family, just being a husband and a father. So that's something that's good. And then just have the hunger and the drive to be amazing. He's very detailed. He's very reliable. We tried to, set this interview up. It didn't always work out. Maybe I had something, Coach had something, but Coach was consistent. He didn't leave me and just say, well, I just bypassed. He was very diligent and say, hey, I want to make sure I be a man of my word. And those are people that you need. So again, I always have to give my flowers to people when they come on. And I want to be super sincere with it. So that's why I take time and I study, I research, because I want you to be able to see these individuals in the light that they deserve. So Coach Butler, welcome to the show, brother.
Man, you did more justice than I needed. I appreciate it, though.
Oh, no, man. Hey, Coach, you trust me, man. I when I say I'm doing my research, man, I'm finding some good things about you. And everybody that I talk to, everybody that I kind of communicate with, they say the same thing about you. And I was gonna save this, but I'm gonna go ahead and open up with it. And I didn't tell you this prior to it, Coach. I know two things when you're recruiting people. I found this out a couple of days ago. When you're recruiting people, I know you ask two things about them. You ask about their work ethic and you ask about their character. Coach, why are those two things important to you when you're looking for somebody to be a part of your program?
It's just on my core values. Like work ethic is a non-negotiable. Like that's what gets your foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And character keeps it there.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to those two, I just know if I don't have those two, I can't go any further. So I'm definitely gonna be hard harping on those two. It's how I was wired up as a player, just to do more and to try to do above and beyond, and like that's what I look for.
Yeah. Coach, that's important. I really hope that a lot of athletes are listening to this, or coaches can share this with our athletes, because sometimes our athletes at the high school level, they get frustrated with us when we're always on them about working hard, showing up on time, because we're trying to prepare you for the next level. Because at the next level, you have to work. Like, is what you do, like basketball or football or softball, whatever you do on a collegiate level, it's turned up a whole notch, because it's a lot of things that's, I guess I want to say, riding on it, but it's a lot of things that takes place for programs to be successful, for coaches to continue to advance in their career, and for you as an athlete to pursue the dreams that you want. And so work ethic is super important, and your character is important because we kind of saw it a little bit with Ja Morant, and of course we're going to stay as positive as possible. But everybody knew Ja. Everybody knows Ja's an amazing player, and Ja had to realize like Nike and all of these other entities are depending on me to, I guess, move a certain way, act a certain way. And that was a wake up call for him and a lot of wake up call for all of us. So, and in life, we all got to learn from other people's mistakes, but let's stay focused, on what we need to do on a consistent basis. So, coach, work ethic and character is super important. Coach, let's go ahead and get it started, man. As always, we like to hear your journey because the podcast, a lot of people may see you when they come to the game. They may see you in the neighborhood community, but a lot of times we don't have the opportunity to really open the book and learn about a person. And we all have so many stories, Coach. So I'm excited. I know our fans are excited just to hear how the game of basketball has brought you to where you are right now at East Mississippi Community College. It's Scuba, Mississippi, right? Is it Scuba?
Scuba, Mississippi.
Scuba,
That's
Mississippi,
it.
man. Talk to us a little bit about your journey, Coach.
Well, I guess I can start in high school with basketball. I was cut after my ninth grade year. Was a manager my 10th grade year. I tried out my junior year and didn't make it. So I had one more year left. And I was talking to my parents about it, and I told them, I was like, I really want to play. And they told me, well, if you want it, you got to work for it. So that's what I did. I got a job at the YMCA. I got some part-time jobs, and it was just a way to get me around somewhere I could work out and somewhere I could play basketball. And like the YMCA in Jackson, I was working at the one in Flowood. They had the courts back then. Yep. Now, I hate it. They don't, but I go play at those every chance I got, and ended up making the team my senior year and was 6-man rotation starter at some points, but earned a position, a contributing position, which was good. And it kind of, gave me some life. But going into college, I did not expect to play basketball, just being honest. I went for ROTC scholarship at Mississippi State University, and my intent was just to graduate in 4 years as a second lieutenant and go into the military, Army specifically. But my sophomore year, I was just like, this is not it. Like, this is not what I want. And it wasn't anything that was negative on the program or anything like that. It was just that my heart wasn't in it. I was excelling in the program, but outside of it, I wasn't enjoying it. So I talked to my parents, and I mean, it was a tough conversation to say, hey, I want to leave a full scholarship to try and get a scholarship. But they were behind me, and they told me, we'll figure it out. If that's what you want to do, go for it. Mm-hmm. So I tried out at Mississippi State. I did not make it the first time. I don't know if everybody knows that, but I had to try out twice. So I made it the second time and earned a full scholarship within a year after that. So it was just a blessing to see it all come full circle with the work that was put in for it. After that, I tried my hand at going overseas on a pro tour to Germany. Got a lot of experience and a lot of good connections through that process, learning what it takes to, play professionally and all of that. I like to say I shot over 40% from three, which I did, but I only shot probably about 10, 12 shots from three. So I'm going to keep my numbers low. But after that, I knew I wanted to get into coaching. So I got the graduate position, the GA position at Mississippi College. I did that for a year. Well, let me backtrack. I did that for a year before going on the pro tour. Once I got back from that, then I got into coaching. Coach Murphy, love that woman. She gave me my first opportunity as a coach, and she's just an extremely on fire for God Christian, and she's a leader by nature. Yeah. She told me, Coach, I only know two things about you. I know that you work hard and you're a Christian, and I need somebody to go with me to Kahoma. So that was really the stint of the conversation, because I I got a call in my parking lot,
Yeah.
and immediately I called my girlfriend, who is my wife now, and I was like, babe, I don't know where this is, but I'm going. Like, I gotta go because it's the start of it. And lo and behold, we got that program turned around within really 3 years. The fourth year, we really had established ourselves. And then I felt like there was a calling for me to do or step out to something different. So I applied at East Mississippi,
Mhm.
and I received the head coaching position here. And that's kind of the short synapse of everything that went on.
Coach, that's an amazing journey. And coach, when I'm writing this down, I'm thinking your high school career kind of almost similar to mine. Almost, I played in the ninth grade. I got cut 10th grade. I got cut the 11th grade the first time. Coach Gay had a second try. I made it. I didn't play in all the 11th grade. 12th grade year, I was pretty much the sixth man. Then we had a kid move in at course, with the Merle High School, excuse me. So, we had plenty of talent. So just being on the
Yeah.
team was an honor. But trying to, and our Coach Fritz, he's passed away now, but he only played about 7 to 8 guys. And so you knew that if you creep it down to 6, 7, 8, you right there. When you get to 9, 10, it makes it a little bit of challenge for you. And I was just blessed to kind of stay right there in that 7, 8 spot with that coach. So I trust me, I feel you on that one, man. And
Yeah.
your players, they always want to know, man, were you good in high school? Were you this, and this? And a lot of times you want to be like other coaches. Yeah, I was Division 1. I had all these scholarships. I went to the NBA, played overseas. And I tell my kids about the best I did was by high school, man. uh,
Yeah.
I had opportunity. I worked out for Belhaven. I worked out for Grambling and Jackson State, but that just wasn't in the cards for me. So I always get excited when individuals like yourself put the work in to get there because you said it, coach, and that says a lot about you. You say, okay, I'm gonna work going into my senior year. I'm going to get to a place where I can be around basketball, be around athletic facilities, and work myself to be where I need to be. I mean, be in the position I need to be able to play. And a couple of years later, coach, you playing in Division 1 at Mississippi State, coach. So, coach, that's amazing, man. That's an amazing story. So, coach, you went to was it Brandon High School?
Yeah.
So you got it with Coach Barnes. Now, who was the coach at Mississippi State when you played?
Rick Ray.
Rick Ray.
Coach Stansberry had just left.
Man, Rick Ray, man, he got a tough end of the stick, man. Like everybody know, Stansberry, had a great team, man. There was some great guys. Obviously, some things didn't go right, and then Rick Ray comes in. Was he the first African American men's basketball coach in the SEC?
I
Or
don't know in the SEC, but I know for Mississippi State he was.
Mississippi State. So yeah, he couldn't have been the first one, but yeah, so he's the first one at Mississippi State. So to have that pressure and then have to deal with all the things that he had to clean up, and then once you finally get the program kind of rolling, and you know how college works, they bring somebody else in. So that was cool for you to be able to, I guess, experience. But talk a little bit about that, Coach. Again, I'm always excited to hear about people's college experience when they play basketball. So kind of talk a little bit about just that process because it wasn't always the best days at Mississippi State during that time. But when I did watch you all play, you all played hard basketball. You just couldn't just always get over the hump. But you can tell that Coach Ray had a system where you were disciplined, you were tough on defense, and you fought to the end. So talk us a little bit about your playing days.
Yeah, so I have a lot of respect for Coach Ray. He came in and he had to clean house. He had a lot of stuff to take care of, but he was getting the program turned around and going into the right direction. One thing he is hard nosed on is defense.
Yep.
He wanted us to hold teams to 50.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the SEC, in men's basketball, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to look up. Some people gonna have to miss shots for that to happen. But the goal was there, and the reason we were so exhausted was because we were using all of that energy to stop them. But man, when it came down to offense, if we didn't get it in transition at that point, it was kind of like, we got to find somebody that could put it, put it in the hole. And I know he was bringing those pieces in. It just took it was 1 year too late, I feel like, for him. He had, Quindarius Weatherspoon coming in. He had um my guy from Jim Hill coming in.
Yeah,
Not Fred was already there. Not Jim Hill. Malik Newman.
yeah, Malik
He
Newcomb.
had him coming in. So it was like it was going in the right direction. He was getting the top talent in the state. And I just feel like if he had one more, I think it would have gone ahead and taken off. But he did a really good job at Southeast Missouri once he left. And he brought them to the top of their conference. So I'm just proud to be, one under his leadership because I learned a lot from him, especially when it comes down to defense. And I love defense too. So I got a lot of drills. I got a lot of stuff that I didn't like doing, but it really helped. That now I can teach. So it's good. It's good to have.
Man, yeah, Coach Ray was a good guy. I never met him personally. I had opportunities to see him, obviously like most people at the game or see him through some clinic or some teaching things of that nature. But he always handled stuff with class, and especially that situation, because when you brought in to kind of clean house and you realize that you're not in their end goal or in their end plan, that's kind of tough. But he handled it with class, and that was good to be able to see that.
Mhm.
Coach, GA, who was your coach that you worked with at Mississippi College?
Coach Duke.
Coach
And
Duke.
then Coach Jaleesa Taylor was the assistant coach at that time. She's the head coach at Northwest Rankin right now.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Taylor. Man, that's when I first met Coach Taylor. Coach Duke been there, man, he's a legend at Mississippi College. I don't think he gets a lot of credit for what he has done in the state. Of course, Jaleesa Taylor at Northwest, man, she's doing a good job. And to be honest, man, Northwest is slowly kind of growing. Her last 2 seasons been pretty good. So I really wouldn't be surprised if Coach Taylor is right there in that Elite Eight, Final Four Coliseum this upcoming year. So shout out to Coach Taylor in Northwest. I'm going to talk about Coach Murphy, man. Let me tell you this: I've had a few people on the podcast already, excuse me, and they said the exact same words. Like they say, "I love that woman," and like it's crazy just to hear that. And Coach Murphy and I, we've been trying to set up a podcast interview, and Coach Murphy, obviously, she just got promoted. She's in Troy. Yeah, maybe we could talk a little bit about that. So I'm excited to have her on the podcast, but I really hope that she's watching the podcast because there's some people saying some amazing things about her. And if she's not watching, shame on you, Coach Murphy, because you got some people really showing you some love. And so, Coach, I want to hear your perspective. You talked about it a little bit, but talk about what makes Coach Murphy so special, and talk about just something that we probably didn't see from the outside looking in from the work that y'all put in the trenches at Kahoma.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing about her is she's the epitome of a servant leader. Like, if I could learn anything from her, it would be that, like that one thing. When if the floor needed to be dust mopped, she was trying to do it, and I'm having to snatch the broom out of hand. Like, that's not your job. You ain't got to do that as an assistant. And it's just one of those things. Like, she's not gonna think about it. She's just gonna do. She cares about her kids. She loves hard, and she really wants everybody to succeed. She's one of those extreme optimists that can always find the good in any situation. So when it comes down to, like, troubled kids or disciplining, it's always out of love. And it's really impressive to see done firsthand. And I think that what she has shown through that is just that when you care about your kids care about you, and when they care about you, they want to see you succeed. She had former players calling her when she got Coach of the Year, just congratulating because they know how much she invested in them personally.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the biggest compliment you can have is when your former players and current players congratulate you and kind of give you your roses, just for the accomplishments that other people will really voted her for. So it's just she's a servant leader, and she's not afraid of work. So I could just respect that about her.
Man, Coach, again, that's amazing to be able to hear. And it's so many people who have worked with her who glean a lot of different things from her, and they are using it in their program. And Coach Dixon, Lauren Dixon from Florence, she said that about how she just started naming some of the coaches who just started working, who had worked with her. And I said, man, that is amazing. I said, Coach Murphy she got a strong coaching tree, man. Like she got so many people. So it's just good to be able to see that. So I'm gonna do this. I do want to talk about this real quick. Candace Foster. Now, I talked about this on a previous episode with Coach Carlisle about going home and trying to rebuild something. Candace has a lot of steam going right now. She has a lot of energy going on, and she's really changing the program. And to be honest, I was talking to my brother Justin. I know that the Kahoma job obviously is open. They may have filled it by the time we air this, but I was like, man, I would love to see Candace slide in that position. Somebody just, because I feel like she has that going on, but I know she has something special as a calling that she has at Murrah High School. And of course, I know that you all are friends, kind of grew up together, same church together, families are very close. And we didn't give an opportunity to give Candace her flowers earlier because she when I interviewed her, she was still at Brandon. And then a couple of weeks later, she kind of went to Murrah High School and she's been there working hard. So, Coach, what also makes Candace Foster special? And why do you believe that she can get Murrah High School back to the glory days?
Candace has favor.
Yeah.
Her whole family has favor. And she works hard. She actually was a preferred walk on at Mississippi State, and she earned her scholarship as well, actually before me. And I always joke like when people ask me about her, I was like, yeah, she used to whoop my tail when we were younger, like playing pickup. And then when I finally like got to college, now it's like, okay, you can't touch me. But she was one of those people like she was gonna be out there with the guys and like give you a run for your money. And she's been a tough competitor her whole life. So I know that her going back to her home, uh, because she's a Mustang through and through. Like she's gonna rep she's gonna rep for Jackson. I think her going back to somewhere where she has that strong heart for her, she's gonna give it. And I think that that's what's going to show within her program. I know it's showing up already through what I can see from social medias and what they're doing together, how she's trying to, clean up and renovate and then get the team, having fun and motivated. So I think that that's gonna really, really show up when it comes down to the season.
That's true, and I'm excited about it. So again, shout out to Coach Foster, man. Keep making plays and keep letting that favor just shine all on you. Coach, let's kind of get into it, man. When people hear East Mississippi Community College, and you probably heard this over and over again, everybody thinks of the Netflix, man, Last Chance U. And of course, that's popular. And again, I'm glad we got that spotlight. But it's a lot of other good things going on at East Mississippi Community College, and one is the basketball program. So I'm going to change up a little bit. Obviously, I want to talk about Coach Sharon Thompson. She is a staple in that program. She's still the athletic director. Is she still athletic director? She's the athletic director. Obviously, she coached the women's program, and I want to open up with her because I'm going to segue into you. But talk to us about why is she so important to East Mississippi? Why is she so important to those who really know her? Because when you get to know her, when you first see her, you think, well, I know when I first saw her, I say this. When I saw her, I was like, man, I don't know if she's a basketball coach. She looks like a businesswoman, man. She's dressed to the T. She got the glasses on. She's sharp. And then when you see her in action and you see her coach and you see her playing and you look at her details, you like, man, she got it going on. And she, to me, is what a coach looks like. When you turn the TV on or you listen to a podcast and the way that she carries herself, communicates herself, holds people accountable, you like, man, I kind of want some of that because whatever she has, she just makes it look beautiful. So, Coach, talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to kind of segue back into talking about you because obviously for you to be able to come, in and fill those shoes and doing some of the great things you're doing is amazing. But I want people to be able to see what you're following so they can understand some of the great things you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Coach Thompson, she's super valuable to the community college. She's our athletic director. She's been a head coach in our program and in our system. So it's one of those things, like, she's been in the league so long, her knowledge, you just, like, you can't buy it. You can talk to her about anything. She's approachable, and she's a competitor. Like, I don't know if you know, like, her background, but she's one of Mississippi State's greats, and, like, for her to have the success professionally and on the collegiate level that she's had, and then not only that, turn it into coaching success here at East Mississippi, like, she's just done a great job setting the example and setting the tone. She's been successful at the highest level here. Like, she's won state, she's won the Region 23 tournament, and she's shown that it can be done here. So I think the biggest takeaway I got from it coming in was that I have a blueprint.
Yep.
She's done it. So now I can figure out, well, what needs to happen for it to continue, and then for it to be a consistent thing. So that's one thing that's been really valuable coming in. And then now she still works out like she plays. So I love running into her in the gym because I know she's about to
Yep.
get me fired up to try to go harder. But she's just a good person to be around and to have in your corner.
Yeah, man, I forgot about that part of it. And I forgot, Coach. Yeah, you get it too, Coach. You work out pretty strong as well, man. I kind of saw you on social media, man, y'all. So I know that's some good times in there. I might need to come to school and join y'all, man, because I know
Come
y'all
on.
getting in, man. So let's talk about this then, Coach. You say you apply for the job. Obviously, you coach, you get the job. Coach, talk to us about the interview process and talk about some of the things that you can share with us as high school coaches, because there are a lot of high school coaches that want to take that next step. Obviously, we saw Coach Faulkner. She's going to be at Jones the upcoming year, coming from Meridian. So congrats to Coach Faulkner as well. So, Coach, talk to us about their process, because I think this platform is important to be able to share. Just because I've had a few college coaches on prior to this episode, but I want to be able to continue to glean and get knowledge, because every experience is different. Because, like you said, your experience is going to be maybe different from the other coaches who are on, because you're coming behind a legend. And so, and I'm not sure if she was in the interview process or not, but for you to be able to have to come in that era and then present yourself and say, this is our guy, Coach Butler, who's going to lead us into the future. So kind of just talk about just the excitement about the phone call, talk about the interview process. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, Coach, kind of talk us a little bit about East Mississippi, because I know a lot of people are going to be on here. They're going to be supporting you. So I want to be able to give them some shine. And I'll repeat this as well, but just talk about the community, your administrators, your president. You can talk about your assistant coaches, kind of your players, and we'll kind of dial into that more and more. But I want to make sure I give them their shine, because I've noticed just looking at it, people get excited when they see somebody on here they know. So I want to be able to shout them out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with the interview process, I got the phone call, and I knew Coach Thompson just from being in the league for 4 years. So we've had a mutual respectful relationship just through being competitors. But when I think she saw that I had put my name in the hat, she called me. She verbatim said, "Coach, I saw you apply. Did you want the job?" And not like giving it to me by like at that point, but she was like, "Is this something serious that you're considering?" And I told her yes. So we got a interview set up. It was a panel interview, and it was Coach Thompson, our head men's basketball coach, our dean of students, or dean of academics, and it was, I want to say, our athletic advisor, Abby Jenkins, and all of them were in the room. And I mean, they had their list of probably really 10 to 15 questions that they just started firing, and it was one after the next, just continuing the conversation, really just trying to figure out who you are as a person, what your background is with basketball, and then your knowledge of the rules and regulations for the league, your knowledge of basketball in general, when it comes down to strategy, when it comes down to scouting, recruiting, everything that's involved on the college level, they kind of like hit point after point. But thankfully, being in the league for 4 years kind of prepared me for it. There wasn't anything that I didn't feel prepared to answer. Uh, just knowing that I've had to do the recruiting side of it, the eligibility side of it, and the coaching side of it, under Coach Murphy. So I think one of the things that kind of tipped it over the top, and that's why I got to give credit to Coach Murphy, is Coach Murphy is a leader that lets you shine in your area and in your strengths. One thing that she was passionate about is defense, and I'm passionate about defense. But what we found out is when we work together, if I worry about the offense and she worries about the defense, we're more successful.
Mm.
So the last 2 years I was at Kahoma, I was the one solely calling the offenses, unless she felt like she needed to throw in an audible. And I think that kind of gave me more confidence as a head coach, just knowing that, okay, no, you can execute, you can see what's going on and set up the right play and make the right decision. And that's why I got to give her credit too, because without that preparation, some of the questions that were thrown at me in the interview process, I might not have had an answer to.
Coach, that's good, Coach, and I'm glad we paused right here because you said a lot of things that I kind of do want to put a pin in.
Mm-hmm.
Head coaches and head coaches, we have to make sure that, especially even at the high school level, because you want to propel your assistants to be able to be the leader, to be able to take over somebody else's program. But sometimes, and I've seen this before, sometimes the head coaches, we like to do so much and we want to do everything and we forget we got a person here right beside us or a couple people beside us that can help us be successful. And all of the coaches who I've seen that take over a program, their previous head coach, allowed them to do some things because when you can go into an interview process and they fire off these questions, background, knowledge, scouting, recruiting, do you know the rules of the game, how the travel works, the finances work, when you can have a detailed conversation with them, that gives you so many checks in in those boxes and it propels you forward. So it's important that head coaches do this. So I know some coaches are listening to it. Give your assistant coaches an opportunity to do those things. I know it's tough because we want to keep our hands on it, but it's going to help them in the long run. I know a couple of years ago, I was blessed to be in an interview where with my administrator asked me to be in an interview and they were interviewing for principals. And throughout the process, they asked a lot of questions, but there were some great candidates, coach. But when they asked them specific things that dealt with the administration part of it, they couldn't answer it because they didn't have an opportunity to do those things. And so that automatically kind of put them behind everybody else. And so that's one thing that I suggest to people, we suggested to some of those who were there, go back and get a little bit more experience so you can have this. So I'm glad Coach Murphy bless you with that. And I'm glad you shared that, Coach, because I know that's going to help somebody else. And then also, two coaches, when you interview, I think this is important. No one else said this, and I'm glad Coach Butler said it. And maybe we did say it. Sometimes we think an interview is just going to be one person. I think Coach Tadlock may have said this too, but a lot of times, especially the higher you go up, there's going to be a panel of people. And so what I like to instruct coaches is when you're preparing for an interview, get some of your friends, your buddies, your colleagues, and set it up where you may be at a long table or you're in an area and you interview with 4 or 5 different people and you have people asking questions. Maybe they're rapid fire questions, maybe they're very detailed. That's going to help you out a lot because you're already going to be naturally nervous. But if you're not prepared to see a panel of people, that can also catch you off guard. So, Coach, I thank you for sharing that, man.
Yeah, no problem. And I can get into like the other side of it too, as far as like,
Please. Yes.
with this year, like with my assistant coming in, like that was a big role to fill. And I was blessed to have somebody that just came, naturally to it, in Zaria Matthews. She played under me when I was a graduate assistant at Mississippi College. She was a 3-year starter there at point guard, and she's extremely detail oriented.
Okay.
She was one of those people that could cover, like like you said, you got to find somebody to help cover your weaknesses too.
Yeah.
And I know as a head coach, we don't like to acknowledge that we do have weaknesses or struggle in areas, but it's the truth. I know that I'm extremely good when I'm working with my hands. When I'm in the gym and we're on the court or we're watching film or we're breaking it down, looking at the numbers, I'm on my stuff. But when it comes down to filing papers or like scheduling, I'm just, I mean, God bless this man with wives for reasons, because my wife does a lot of that and she takes care of that burden. But knowing that I have to go into a leadership position, I needed to find somebody who was structured enough to handle me having a vision and kind of not necessarily all of the steps, but I have a direction. And having someone to come in and trust that, trust your direction and trust your leadership, and then find a way to execute, like that's vital. And I think that that's something head coaches just, you can't put a price on. Uh, Quality leaders and quality assistants, like there's no way to quantify it. You can't put a number on it. And then that trickles down into leadership within the locker room with the players, giving them responsibilities, and then making sure that the sophomores understand that they are expected to lead and be an example on campus, and just letting them know that the standard starts with them because freshmen are going to follow, sophomores are going to have to lead, like on the junior college level, and universities, it's seniors and juniors that are doing this, but you have a quick turnaround here. So you have to invest a lot in their leadership, which is why I know beforehand we were talking about, I'm trying to really, really dig in on some leadership information right now because I know I have to train a, a group and a class within a year to lead somebody else. And that's an extreme turnaround for anybody in life. But to have it, put on a 18, 19-year-old to learn by the next year what to do and how to do it, and then how to do it to the way to the like the standard that the coach wants. That's a lot. So it's a big investment and it takes time. But when you're like when you look at the big picture, you want them to be better people once they leave. So the investment is like it's not a hard thing to give. You want to be that person that brings the best out of them. So I think that's a great part.
That is, man, better people. And that's what we need just in this world, man. Better people, hardworking people with character. Coach, that's amazing. And that's gonna pay off, you know, a lot of sometimes our kids may not see it right now, but that's gonna pay off so far down the road. So, Coach, keep doing those things, man. We need more of that. Shout out again, Coach Matthews, for making assistant coaches look real good. So thank you, Coach, for that, for sharing her as well. So, Coach, let's talk a little bit about East Mississippi, Coach. Give us obviously those who live here in Mississippi, we know about it. Those some people may not be as familiar. So just kind of talk about, scuba, talk about the school, again, talk about some of your leadership. I know you mentioned Coach Matthews, and then we're gonna kind of lead into your season and just talk about how you have built their program. But just talk a little bit about East Mississippi first, and then we want to get into, your program.
Okay. Yeah. So East Mississippi, the athletics campus is at Scuba, Mississippi. And this is where all of the sports are hosted and housed. Everything really here is directed towards student athlete success. And that's one thing that really intrigued me about the position because I knew that as far as I know, no other school has an athletic advisor whose sole job is just to worry about athletes' academics. And that in itself, just knowing that they're going to be on track to get their credentials and go to the next level, all the paperwork is going to be taken care of. That's something that I don't have on my hands anymore. Like that was a blessing. We've seen success here. We've got national titles with the football team. They just won the MAC-CC this year, state championship, and I mean, I know that success is the standard here,
Yeah.
and that's what I like. That's why I felt called to this position and this opportunity, because I know that when it comes down to it, there's going to be a demand on me. And I don't want to be somewhere where I can be relaxed and too comfortable. I like having a demand on me. I like people wanting and expecting me to be the best and to bring out the best in other people. I'm just a competitor, so that fuels my fire. Just knowing that, okay, well, if football won state, all right, bet. Well, run it back. Let me get my stuff together, and we're gonna do the same thing. And I have to give credit to my team from this year, just coming into a new coaching staff, somebody who's it's their first opportunity as a head coach. We made it to the playoffs, and like that is a huge accomplishment within this conference. Just to be able to be one of those teams that made the playoffs, and unfortunately, we had to go down to Kahoma and face off with Coach Murphy in the first round. But when I say they were prepared, they were confident, and they expected to win that game, I couldn't have asked for anything more from them. And that just shows the buy-in and the family atmosphere that I really wanted to create when I got here, because I knew the standard was here. I just wanted to be the one to establish the legit like Lion pride, and when I say pride, I mean community and family within the women's basketball program here. So I think that that's one of the things that I really take away from this year and take to heart and appreciate is just how much the kids bought into believing that, hey, we can do this, and it was huge.
Coach, that is, and I know that had to be tough going against Coach Murphy and Kahoma. And I told somebody this last episode, I learned about some of these great games after the season. So I need to start paying attention more to my schedules. I would have loved to be in the gym to see that game, because those are the most interesting games, because when both coaches know each other and man know their system scheme, they probably could tell their team what your game speech is going to be. Like, y'all are that close. Like, those are some of the best games to be able to be a part of. Coach, I like y'all have an academic advisor. That's very important. And I like what you said. Success is the standard, and you are right. I can imagine when you have national championships and you have teams that's excelling in not just football but basketball, tennis, softball, all of those sports, and you took it upon yourself to say, hey, I don't want to be the one left in the background. So if success is going to be the standard, let's go ahead and let's move on that same train so we can be on the same level. So, Coach, if you going in, knowing success is the standard, talk to us about your implementation stage. Like you said, you're a first-year coach. Obviously, those who have ever gotten a first year anything, if you're a first year marriage, kid, job, first time moving out the house, first car, it's thousands of things coming on to you that you never think of. So, Coach, this is important because we want to continue to help coaches be successful. Coach, talk to us about that implementation stage, and then just talk a little bit more about the season as a whole, because again, you're a first year coach, you got time to reflect. And I know that you are detailed as well. I know you probably looking at these are the things we could have got better. So just kind of walk us through that whole process, Coach, so we can be better, but also just appreciate your first year.
Absolutely. So you know how like when you move into a house, you realize all of the stuff that you didn't have, you got to go find or go buy.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it is when you come into a head coaching position. Like you have an idea, you're gonna get the big stuff. Like I'm gonna make sure I got a bed and a refrigerator, a TV, but I might have forgot the lampstand.
Yeah.
So now my wife telling me I need some more decorations on the wall or something. But there's always gonna be some things that looking back on it, you could have done better. And I think that that's part of what this time right now is for in the postseason. Graduation is Saturday, and with that, I have about a week to reflect on what has happened and all of this kind of stuff. And I've taken some time throughout the postseason to do that. But I've also been really investing hard in these returners. So now that they're going to be off campus, I can really reflect. And when I go back to it, I know that my intentions were to build a strong, tough program. I feel like that message was conveyed, but I feel like now I can convey it better. There's a acronym that I have for my core values. It's called Enrich. And the E is enthusiasm. The N is nature, which covers character and humility. The R is respect. I is integrity. C is cohesion. And then the H is hard work. So being able to break those things down and really have something that they can remember and stand on, that's going to be pivotal moving forward. Just being able to like understand why we do what we do, and then no matter what is going on around you, I told my kids like I want them to be the standard program on campus, and that's saying a lot when you have success already there. Like I said, I already mentioned our football, but men's basketball won state last year, so it's one of those, or the year before last. So it's one of those things like everybody has an opportunity to do that. So what are you doing with your time, with your capabilities, and what can you do more of? So just learning how to express the values and express the standards and the things that I want as a head coach. That's something I'm taking away from this first year. And then just knowing that when it comes down to it, I felt like the relationships are still the most important part. And I think that those were strong because I don't feel like the season would have gone the way that it did if they weren't. Because we had rough patches, we had some ups and downs. The season's a roller coaster. It's not gonna be up all the time. You're gonna have some drops, lose two games in a row, 3 games. How do you bounce back? And I think that the team as a whole and the core of the leadership within the team believe that they could really do it. And I know that that only comes from pouring yourself and your belief into them. So I just feel like ultimately when it comes down to setting the standard and like creating, you need to know what you want first and foremost. Like I'm a defensive person. I want tough defense. I feel like we could have done better in defense this year. Like, I don't want to have to call every set on offense. I want it to be more fluid. I want you to run. I want you to get out in transition, get a rebound and go. But with that, you have to know the game more. So then you have to play more in practice. It comes down to, advantage games. It comes down to breaking down time to score. There's a shot clock now. You got to teach that to the freshmen coming in. There are a lot of things that go into it, and you do them all. But one thing you need to have as a head coach is a mentor, because when you're doing it and when you're going through the preseason and you're going through the regular season, you're trying to get everything in, but somebody has to tell you because you're not going to do it all. Like, what is the most important thing? Focus on that one, get that one done, and then move forward. If you're not getting back in transition on defense and matching up, no offense you run is going to matter. Just plain and simple. You're gonna get ran out the gym. So it's one of those things like what's the most important thing? Focus on that. And then once that is to the standard that you want, build on it. Don't move forward, build on it. Like let that be the foundation and then just keep growing. Add on to it, create different ways to teach it, and then make it something that they can hang their hats on. So that's huge for me within building the program.
Coach, I like that, man. Coach, give me the acronym again. I wrote it down. I was writing so fast I can barely read my own writing. I got the first one is enthusiasm, but give me the rest of those, Coach.
Yeah, no problem. I was probably talking fast too, but it's
You know, you good.
nature, uh respect, integrity, cohesion,
Asian.
and hard work.
Gotcha.
Yeah. because I know like with that word enrich, you wanna invest in them and you want them to grow and flourish from their time with you. So I feel like that's something that the team and my players can remember.
Okay, so this is the part that I know I want to get better at. I know I can't do it at my level, obviously, because you can't recruit, but I want to get better at that because I know if I had to be placed in that position right now, like you said, I don't know if that's a strength or a weakness of, well, I know it's not a strength, so it is a weakness that I would have to address. How do you recruit kids to come to East Mississippi now? Because not a lot going on in school, but I had an opportunity to go there a couple of years ago. We went to the men's, they had a shootout there, and we went there and we played. So I really enjoyed the campus and had a good time there. Not a lot going on there, obviously, and that's in most junior colleges, and even and people don't realize a lot of your bigger schools or your Division I schools, as they say, or Division II. They are large schools, but a lot of times it's not a lot going on either in those areas. It's just a lot going on campus. So, Coach, talk to us about how do you recruit a kid to come to East Mississippi and play in your program? Because Enrich, obviously, I know that's going to be a part of it, but what else do you add to it to say, hey, East Mississippi is where I want to go?
Just understanding that people have gone to where you want to go to from here. Um, selling that you can go here and go anywhere else. Um, I know there's not a lot to do here, but I like that as a coach because you don't have a lot to get in trouble with either.
Yes, sir.
You should stay in the gym. Like I want people who want to get better, and to do that, you need time and you need like a distraction-free environment. And
Yeah.
I think that's what it provides. It provides opportunities to get in the gym as much as you want. You have coaches here that are going to invest in your individual success and growth, and that correlates to the team success. But then also you have, like I mentioned, Abby Jenkins. She does an amazing job of getting our athletes qualified to go and move on to these 4-year universities, making sure they have the classes that are going to transfer, making sure that all of their information is taken care of. Like I said, this campus is solely its sole job is really to get our student athletes to the next level, and that's shown through our cafeteria, that's shown through our academics, that's shown through the weight facilities that we have on campus, like the culture that we have, the environment, the sports supporting one another, and that family atmosphere. Those are things that I don't really have to sell because when they come on the visit, everybody's so friendly and they talk about it so much that it kind of sells itself. Um, and I know that, I'm blessed to say that we're about to get renovations to the gym. It's the next one on the list. So, we'll have new things coming. I know kids love to see new. Like shout out to Coach Adams and that new facility at Gulf Coast because it's amazing. And it's a selling point. Kids want to see themselves. They want to feel like where they're going, it's on the up and up and it matters. So just knowing that you're going to get publicized to D1 coaches. We're using the same systems that they're using with Synergy to transfer film, get highlights, and all of this kind of stuff. Make it as accessible as possible for you to be seen on the next level. And then just having the heart to hearts with them and creating those relationships. Because at the end of the day, if you have a good relationship with the recruit as a coach, and your team, you know the personality and the atmosphere of your team, you're gonna recruit in kids that fit that. And I think that's the biggest thing. My players will sell the program better than I do, but it's because they know like they're gonna get worked hard, but they're gonna be loved and they're gonna be taken care of. So that's really what I do. I just try to create the relationship and just control the controllables. Like I know there's not a lot to do around the area, but I know here you can go where you want to go.
Coach, man, that I like that, man. That gives me a little bit more confidence. But this is the part that I'm kind of stuck on too, and I want you to speak to this. And I probably should have did this when I had my other JUCO colleges on, which ties into this question I'm about to ask. there's a certain number of kids you got to have on the team from the state of Mississippi, and then you got to have a certain amount of out of staters. I think most of our coaches know this. Again, when I first got into high school, I didn't know that. When I first started coaching, I didn't know that at all. And then I know even prior to then, you could only go to the school that was in your area. And I know that was before, that was earlier as well. So you probably can speak to that as well. So if you can speak to that part, but the question I wanted to ask is, Coach, I heard what you said. It's amazing. I heard what Coach Adams said. That's amazing. I heard what Coach Fletcher said. That's amazing. But Coach, to me, it's almost like a battle because we fighting for a certain group of kids. We want to get the best kids. And Coach, you make it sound so easy, man. How talk to us just about that process, man, because you got to recruit a certain kid. You're going to get certain out of staters. Coach, just keep elaborating on that because that's the part I'm just still trying to wrap my brain around because I'm just imagining me and you, we can do Coach Faulkner. She's new coming to Jones. And then we can just take Coach Adams. And we all trying to build a roster. And what makes East Mississippi different from Mississippi Gulf Coast, or what makes it different from Hines, or we throw Holmes in there, Colin, like, and then we're still fighting against Division II schools, Division I schools, NIL, transfer portal. Man, just kind of help me make that make sense because again, it just seems hard to recruit kids, and maybe it's just me, but just kind of talk to us about that, man.
Yeah, well, look, I'll give you kind of, and I might be sharing too much for my competitors, but I'll give you kind of like what I've known to do that'll work. Constant communication, setting up a schedule, when you're going to communicate with the student athletes, uh, and it really needs to be every 6 to 9 days, like once a week or twice a week, depending on how invested you are in that person. Now, when it comes down to the in-state and out-of-staters, for Mississippi junior colleges, we're only allowed 4 out-of-state scholarships.
Mm.
Okay, so 4 out-of-state positions, and with that, you kind of got to go and find some blue chips out of state that because it's so vital and so important because there's such a vast like pool to choose from. So you want to make sure you do really good finding those out of staters. But when it comes to in-state, when I tell you it's a battle, I might say it, I might sound like it is not easy. It is a grind because you're gonna be in the gym with probably 5 to 6 coaches every time you go there. And if you're not, your assistant is. Or if y'all are in the same place, you might be outnumbered. You you're gonna have to be comfortable fighting for what you want,
Mm.
and showing that you're invested in that player, because throughout the course of a year, people will fall off in communication. I'm gonna give another tip. Kids nowadays do not want information on text messages. They want to be informed probably by email where they can read it and save it. When you text them, you want to have encouragement or conversation.
Mm.
Um, they don't really talk like that on the phone because they FaceTime. I don't FaceTime, so I I have to make sure I use my avenues. My assistant coach, she'll FaceTime. Like, she can create that relationship through that. But when I say it's like it is a battle trying to get in-state kids because there's talent in Mississippi, but
Yeah.
there's 15 schools fighting for it on just the junior college level. That's not including the four-year universities, the D2s, the Mississippi States, the Ole Misses, like, and you have to be okay with shooting your shot at a talented kid. I've had a lot of no's, but the yeses that I got are people that I'm confident in now. And I know that I have to also recruit kids that fit me. So we might be at the same game looking at 2 different kids for 2 different reasons. And that's okay because everybody wants the most talented person. You can always see and identify the most talented person. But that's why, like, I guess the word's out that I'm just trying to find hardworking, character-filled kids because when it comes down to it, those are the kids that are going to make it through a preseason. a summer session, and then finish strong through conference play. I kind of break the season down to four seasons or like four quarters. The first quarter is preseason, right? You got your workouts, you're just focusing on developing, getting better, and training not only the skill set, but the thought process, knowing what to do in certain situations. And once you do that, now you're going into the second quarter, which is like your non-conference or regular season. Okay. So that's the opportunity to show and to learn on the fly, especially in junior college. These games aren't conference games. So you can try it out. You can throw different lineups in. You can kind of figure out what you got and give everybody an opportunity.
Yeah.
But when that third quarter comes after Christmas and it's conference play, coaches are gonna know, like, we're gonna know where we're going at that point. We know the 7 to 9 that we feel like can really produce for us this year, and that's not discrediting the other people on the team because and this is my walk on side of me. Like, I invest 1 through 15. I don't care if you don't touch the floor, you're gonna get the same amount of attention and reps as the number one. Just on my heart, like I can't not do it for you because I understand it from being on that end of it. But moving forward, I'm a coach. Like, I have to coach to win the games. So knowing, that conference play is when it's like it's real. But then the fourth quarter is when you want to be playing your best ball, and that's tournament time. Like, that's postseason play. So when you get to postseason play, now you should know exactly what's going on, and you should be prepared to do and execute what the coach is asking you to do. Or you should know the scouting report. You've played the teams enough to understand and identify who does what. And when it comes down to that, that's the time, and everybody says, that's when you want to be playing your best ball. So when you break it down like that, that's kind of how I broke it down for our team this year, just because we were so new and everybody was learning. Um, we lose some seasons in non, we lose some games in non-conference, but we're getting better at certain things. I'm fine. Like, we're moving in the right direction. We just need to polish it off before conference play. Get enough wins in conference play. Now you made it to the tournament. And I'm a strong believer that if you let me get my foot in the door, I'm gonna kick it down. So I'm gonna try to, like, go all the way as if I have an opportunity to. And I mean, that's just how it was this year. So I hope that kind of broke it down for you, if any of that helped.
Yeah, it did, man. I said this on the previous podcast, man. I need to have it a little bit more organized, but I'm taking everything that I'm learning and I'm putting it together because I really, when I listen to you all, like I listen to you, man, y'all make it sound easy. I'm like, man, I gotta do some things to kind of organize it. So I'm writing all of these things down, and so I like it, coach. And I'm taking the notes that you have. I like your 4 quarters that you broke down from your workout development, your non-conference, conference, and the tournament. And the reason that I said I'm keeping up with it because that was my next question. I hear this part of it, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that part of the first quarter part, and I guess even maybe when you come back in the summer, I hear all the time, kids come to get their workout in, the individual workouts. But I'm still trying to, like, I guess, paint the picture for them. I'm still trying to figure that part out. Like, I know you have a X amount of players. I know you can only be in the gym X amount of time. So I'm thinking, like, how does the individual skill work out? Because I'm thinking if you got 15 players on the time, 15 players on the team, I know you're probably not working them out individually, each person, those 15 times. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. So I'm just trying to figure that part out. How do you get those workouts in to for skill development? How long do they last, and what's the benefit? Because I know, lie, coach, every coach that I probably have had on the show that's on the college level, they probably had just got from a workout, or they about to go to a workout, or they've been doing it. So I know it's something y'all do all the time. So I just want to get a little bit of help with that. Is just kind of talk to us about that process.
I would love to break that down for you. So, and I'll give you the numbers. So we have 8 hours in preseason and postseason, right? In our off-season workouts. So those 8 hours, that is the amount of time we can spend instructing our student athletes.
Okay.
With that, it includes meetings, it includes film sessions, it includes weights, it includes individuals on the floor. All of those things are covered under those 8 hours. Conditioning as well. So now postseason, I don't do a lot of conditioning, so I'll break it down for preseason. I break my groups down into position groups. We have a point guards group, we'll have a wings group, and normally we'll have a post group and a hybrids group, like the 3-4 position,
Yeah.
um, because each of them needs a different skill set, and I can't lump them all together. So when it comes down to the preseason, I'm trying to get you better at your skill set for your position. Ball handlers need to be handling the ball. They need to be going full court. Same thing with the wings and the posts, just in different areas. Posts need to be able to finish around the rim, have a nice touch, 15-footer. Hopefully, extending that out to the three if you have it. If you don't, that's something that we work on in postseason. But like growing those things, we have 45-minute workouts per group. Okay, 3 individuals workouts per week, and then we'll have now in the preseason we'll switch it and we'll have 3 individual or we'll have team weightlifting 3 times a week. In postseason we do 3 individuals, but 45 minutes for the individual sessions, 45 to an hour for the weight room, and we'll have two extreme and I 30 minutes doesn't sound long, but it's real long if you're running 30-minute conditioning sessions at least twice a week. Um, and then that leaves us some wiggle room to start, especially in the postseason, working with film more, showing you what you did wrong, what you did well, and what you need to do more of in within the offense and within the program and the system. So just kind of having those things, and that's why the coaches are running from workout to workout, because I might have my point guards coming in at 9 o'clock. All right, well my wings are coming in at 10. I'm going to lunch at 11. My posts are coming in at 12, and we might have a team workout or an open gym at 2 o'clock where they can just come in and play pickup. And I like to have our teams play because that's something that kids just don't do outside of school anymore, and I hate it. But I make sure that we have one day a week where we're just scrimmaging. Like that's all we're doing is scrimmaging, and it's for 40 minutes to an hour, because you have to play basketball to know what to do in basketball. You can't learn from something you never do, or you can't get better at something that you never do. And I know these skills coaches are doing more of this now when it comes down to situational drills, and they're great. But if you don't ever play, you're still not going to know what to do when the opportunity presents itself. So those are things that I really try to break down for our group. Um, and I hope that kind of helped with the breakdown, because it's a lot of moving parts, and I don't have more than 3 people in an individuals group because I want to give them the most attention possible. And if they want to get up extra shots individually, we have shooting machines that can come in on their own and do that. The gym is wide open for those type of things. But when you want that one-on-one teaching, a group of 3 to 4 is kind of like my limit, because I want to be able to invest in people's like specific needs.
Yeah. So, coach, how many players do you have on your team?
So this year we have 14.
14. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we had to split on it. We had to split our post group into 2 groups because we have I think 7 posts, so 3 in one, 4 in the other, and then we had a point guards group and a wings group.
Okay.
So yeah, it's part of the process trying to figure out and piece in place what everybody needs to do, and then through those individuals, you kind of get a feel of what a, a player is capable of that they don't know yet. So you want to give them the confidence to grow and be uncomfortable in those settings. And when you have a small number, people tend to be okay with being uncomfortable when there's not an audience. So you can push yourself to mess up. Like I don't want you comfortably doing the ball handling movements. I don't want you casually coming off the screen for your shot. I want you to go game speed. Like I want you to get the most out of it. And since we're only going for 45 minutes, you can. So that's a big thing about it. Like the time frames are meant to give you the most bang for your buck when it comes down to how I break down like the scheduling for the preseason and postseason.
Man, I thank you for that, man. And you answered a lot of questions for me because I was about to ask. I guess that's why, because I was thinking, man, 8 hours a week, kids can't really get any better. But I do know that obviously some schools have so I know some schools have key cards, some kids have access to be able to come in and work out. And so I know coaches, I'm working you out, but I expect you to be doing something every single day. So that kind of fills that gap in for me there. And it's funny that you said about the pickup thing. My brother Justin and I, we were talking about this just the other day about the importance of kids playing pickup basketball and some things that he says that concerns him is that kids don't know how to play pickup basketball because he said a lot of time when he sees kids in the gym, they playing, they're not playing serious, and it's frustrating to be able to see that. And I told him, I said it is frustrating, but I think that you might have to teach. I know that sounds weird, especially to us, teach kids how to play 5-on-5. But you said it right. In order for you to learn, you got to be able to do it. And I think I gave him some example, but it's just like if they hire me at Chick-fil-A, they got to teach me how to cook the chicken sandwich and put the pickles on there and make the toaster buns. You just can't just say, hey, go at it. You got to teach me how to do it. So I think it's the same way with that because you hit the nail on the head, coach. These kids are so focused on the individual side that they forget about the pickup side. So,
Yeah,
coach,
and I hate it because that's the fun part to me. Like
yeah,
going at it, being competitive.
I would rather I tell my kids this, and y'all complain. I would rather play full court, maybe 3-on-3, 4-on-court, 4-on-4, and playing super hard than get on that line and running. Like I would rather put it all in one. Get my conditioning in, get my competitiveness in, work on these skills Coach Butler done taught me. I would rather do that than individual for real and getting on that line because you can get 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 and everybody getting back and forth on defense and offense, you get in shape quickly. But I'm like you, coach. I'd rather that would be me. Obviously, I know I got to get my skill in, but if coach gonna let us scrimmage, hey man, I'm taking advantage of it.
Absolutely.
So, coach, with all of that being said, because man, college is something that I'm looking forward to, but again, the part that kind of like we talked about is just all of that going on. So it leads to my question, and coach, everybody who knows you, man, they know that you're a family guy, man. Like you love your wife, man. You're a great example of that, man. You love it's your son? Is it son or daughter? Son, right?
Son, yeah.
I don't care. I didn't want to get it confused. I didn't want to say that. I did that one time on a podcast. I told the man he had a daughter. He told me at the end. So I want to make sure I get it. So you love your son, man. You love your wife, man. And I kind of saw it, man. You publicize your family, man. I see them all the time. So, coach, I'm looking at this schedule. Coach, you running from point guards to wings, to cafeteria, to film, recruiting, scouting, FaceTime, text, email. But coach, you still got a family, man. Coach, how do you balance all of that, man? Because I know a lot of coaches, and one of my old mentors told me this: you can be the most winningest, you can win the most games, excuse me. But if you ain't got nobody to come home to or share those moments with, it sucks. So you got to find a balance with that. So that always stuck with me. But when I hear the schedule that you all have, how do y'all do it, coach?
Look, it's a lot of give and take, and I'm one that I am very task oriented. So like when it comes down to basketball season, I'm all all in on basketball season. Um, but I also have a wife and Adriana Butler who has been supporting me through the process since before I got the position at Kahoma.
Yeah.
She actually left the corporate world to support and be there for me, knowing that we wanted a family. And she sacrificed a lot on her end for me to have the success that I've had. So I don't take any of that lightly. And I gotta shout out my baby now. She's gonna get the credit for everything that comes after this. Just because she handles a lot of the stuff and takes a lot off of my plate. But when it comes down to time is something that it's not a thing that you have to find. You have to prioritize.
Mm.
Um, so it's there, but you have to be willing to say, I might miss this. I might miss this recruiting event. Or hey baby, I want to come with me because I've taken my family on the road. We've gone to some events just as a whole, so we can be together, because that time together is like, it's priceless. And I love my son. That's my little mini me, and he gonna be on the road with me sometimes too, just me and him. Give my wife a break. I put the car seat in, and we good to go, because I know that that time. Now he might not remember it because he's 2. He'll be 3 this summer. He might not remember it, but the relationship that it builds and the ties that it instills in him, to know that I want to be around him and that I want to be a part of it, that's gonna be priceless. And it's the same for my wife. Like, knowing that you gotta prioritize a date night, you gotta prioritize just sitting and talking, and then prioritize time just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Um just doing nothing together though. I know you as a husband, you can understand that part of it too. So it's just one of those things, like, you're never gonna have full balance. And I want that to be understood, because a lot of people will say that, oh, you just got to do this and this, and you'll be fine. No, my wife gives me a lot of grace in basketball season, because she knows that is my focus. Like, I've got a lot on my plate, I've got a lot to manage, but she gives me grace in that area. So when it's off season, or when it's preseason, or postseason, I gotta do the same. Like, you can't. It's a give and take. You can't just be doing all the time. And I think that's just for the marriage side of it. If you want to be a great coach, you can be a great coach, but you can be single too. So you might want to watch how you go about things. But I know that, like, when it comes down to it, the love is there, the communication is there. So when the time is there to spend, you got to do it. Like, you just got to do it.
Coach, that's powerful, man. And you said this, and I never thought about it. So I'm gonna change my wording up with that. You're right. It'll never be just full balance. And like you said, my wife kind of does the same thing. For me, and then of course, before I got this job in Richland, the past 6 years, I was at Pisgah High School, and I was coaching girls and boys. So I mean, you can imagine that. But she said my job is just to make it easy as possible before you. And I did the same I did the same thing that you did. As soon as the season over, I try to pick up a lot more of the slack. And I learned it from one of my mentors, Coach Gatlin, and it was funny. As soon as the season was over, his wife is super supportive, Wanda, she's a good lady. As soon as the season over, we was in the gym, we was shooting around, we were just kind of just kicking and shooting the breeze. She comes through the door. She got one kid with her, another kid. She got her exercise clothes on. She said, "Here, it's your turn." She walk out the door, and I'm sitting there laughing. I'm laughing. It's super hilarious to me. And I look at my guy, Coach Gavin. He's like, "Man, it's my turn." And man, she got him, and she went on about her business, and that always stuck with me. So to hear you say that just confirms there are some guys that are trying to do it, but you also said there's a couple guys and a couple ladies who may kind of got it out of whack and want to get it back in line. So, Coach, man, you speaking a lot of good facts, man, and it's true because, like, we were supposed to do this interview a little while ago, and we both used the opportunity that we didn't do it the first time to spend time with family. Because when you communicated, Coach, and I'm with family, I said, "Hey, man, it worked out perfect because I'm with my family," and my wife really appreciated it. So I was like, the Lord kind of worked it out. So, man, I'm glad that it's somebody else who's moving like that. Coach, I'm gonna ask you one basketball question, man, because I know I don't want to keep you too long, and I want to get to our fast break questions. Coach, I'm always interested in defense. It doesn't matter if it's zone defense, if it's man defense, if it's press defense, baseline out of bounds defense, sideline out of bounds, situational. And I know you do a great job on the defensive side of it, Coach. So if you could just share, wherever you feel led to share us a little bit about the defensive side and your philosophy with that. And then we'll get into our fast break and conclusion questions, and we'll kind of let you get back to, being great, Coach Butler.
All right, no problem. I get a lot of my defensive philosophies and ideas from Coach Schaefer, the former coach at Mississippi State. I I don't even know if I said this on the front end, but I was actually a practice player for them the 2 years I was doing ROTC at Mississippi State. Yeah, so I was working with the women's team there. I got to be, around Coach Fanning Otis before she left, and then transitioned to Coach Schaefer's staff. And his breakdown on defense was so detailed that as a practice player, just sitting there listening to him, I got better as a player. So just knowing like he went so far as to how you close out and which foot to step with on a jab, which direction to turn. He's got his riding the bull phrase where you got your arm bar down, your hand up, uh, showing the refs that you're not fouling and all of this kind of stuff. There's a lot of technical breakdowns on it, but when it comes down to just defense, it is want to. It is heart, and you have to instill that that's something that everybody should want to do. Everybody should want to play defense. Not everybody can score. Everybody won't score that's out there. But if you're not playing defense, you won't be out there long. And that's one thing that I kind of try to explain to players when they get here. Because I understand what you can do offensively, and sometimes I recruit kids just strictly for defense because when you bring that fire and you bring that energy, and nobody can score on you, like that's something to take pride in. That's something that you bring to the table that is extremely valuable. And knowing your role and like flourishing in your role is super super important. I have one of my sophomores coming back. She wants to be the best defensive player in the conference. I told her, well, you got some work cut out for you because there's some top talent in the conference. But that's the challenge that she wanted to face. And when you can accept that role, because she understands that if the leading scorer is somebody that I got to guard, I stay out there when she's not scoring. When she understood that and she took on that personality, man, you should see her in practice. Like it gives me confidence to throw her in there in the game because I know like now she can finish. I don't have a doubt that she can produce offensively, but her value on defense is so important. And I want everybody on the floor to understand that same thing. Post, when you're blocking out and you're rebounding, those are valuable things. You can start the fast break. I don't think posts understand that. Like they do start the fast break when they get the rebound. But the guards are the same way. When you can just flat out guard one on one, force into the base. Now I like to force to the baseline. I don't really care if people know that because I'm gonna do it regardless. So I like to force you to the baseline. When you don't give up middle, man, I get live, like I get on fire. The team gets hyped, knowing that you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Forcing it to help. Rotations are always there. We know what we're trying to do. We know what we're trying to get. And man, defense is what brings energy. Like scoring, like okay, scoring gets you excited. Defense gets you in the game, and defense puts you ahead of the game.
Yep.
And that's the main thing that I want to instill in my kids, especially in the summer. Like we're gonna do a lot of one-on-one drills. We're gonna do a lot of two-on-two, three-on-three advantage drills. I want to see if you can stop two people sometimes. Like I know it's not gonna be fair, but I want you to say, hey, if I'm out there, they not scoring on me. And that's the main thing. When it comes down to it, you just gotta have a want to be a defensive stopper because there are five people on the floor. There's one ball, and only one person has it at a time. When you play basketball, it is a team sport, and defense is one of those things that will keep you on the floor and will keep you in any game. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Coach, I'm writing that drill down, man. I'm gonna implement that, man. I never thought about it. I'm writing that two guard, well, two people on offense and one on defense. So I'm writing that down.
I
That's
can I can send it to you.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I know, Coach. What's some more drills you got, man? I know somebody else may what's maybe one or two more that you got that's pretty good.
Oh well, that advantage drill with the 2-on-1, we do it. It's called wooden. You have two lines at half court. There's two people who start on one end of the floor. There's one defender on the other end. They're going 2-on-1 full court. Once and the teams are split in half. There's like for us, it'd be a red team on one side of the court, a white team on the other. If red is going down, white is on defense. and there's one white. Now, once the two on offense get past half court, one of the people on the sideline sprints in at half court, has to touch the center circle, and they have to try to play catch up. So the person who's already down there is stopping the 2-on-1 until their help side recovers, just working on fast break defense, and making sure that you're really trying to come in and get a stop. They get a stop, or if they score, they're going back the other way, and then it's the same thing. 2-on-1, half court, somebody sprints in once they get past, and now we're just going live. And you'd be amazed at how fast and how fun that gets when it's extremely competitive and people are getting stops. And then when you're getting scored on, like it adds up super, super quick. So you just kind of got to figure it out. And I love competitive drills. So there's going to be a winner and a loser on everything. I don't care if we're doing like catch and shoot. There's gonna be a winner and a loser, and the loser's always got consequences. Because I gotta have to instill it that you shouldn't be comfortable losing, but you should have the competitive edge to say, all right, if y'all beat me this drill, I got you next one, and we just keep it going from there.
Yeah, I like that. It kind of reminds me of, I know a lot of people from Jackson don't like Dion anymore, but Coach Prime, he said that too when he was doing some renovations to, I guess, to the locker room. He said every game that they have in the locker room, it has to be a competition, excuse me. So he got ping pong on there. He had shooting game. Everything has to be a competition. Everything has to be a winner. It has to be someone that loses. So I like that too, Coach. So that's something we can also use, competitive drills. All right, Coach, let's get into our fast break questions. Again, this has been one of our more popular segments of the podcast. Again, these questions are, and this is for those who may be new to the podcast, these are questions that we ask that are maybe not necessarily basketball questions, but they're just questions to get to know the coach more, but to kind of just end the show with a little bit of excitement. So this is a new question right here I haven't asked before, but I know Coach carries himself well, got a lot of swag. So, and I know that the coaching attire has changed a little bit because since COVID, but Coach, in practice or when you travel or at the game, what's your favorite coaching attire to wear?
My favorite, and I'm just being honest, like I like to be comfortable. So now, if I'm on the sideline, I love just slacks and a polo, and some tennis shoes, so that I can run down the floor too, if I need to. But I like to be comfortable and have that vibe. Now on the road, I like a hoodie and a hat. I might look like a baseball recruit sometimes, but I like a hat. I like a hoodie and just some comfortable like joggers or something. But I gotta be able to have some tennis shoes on at some point. Now my wife, she's gonna want me 10-10, so I'm gonna have it suited and booted some games, all black to the T. But if it's that, it's all her. If it's a polo, it's me.
Hey, Coach, I'm the same way, man. During the season, man, when it's not a game, man, I'm hoodies, man. I wear a hoodie all the time. My wife kills me, man. She like you going to work, man. But the hoodie just so comfortable, man. I don't know if it's I love the hoodie sideline, man. I like to dress up, but lately I've been kind of changing it up, man. I used to be a shirt and tie guy, and I still am, but I've been throwing the polos in. I might sometimes I throw a coaching jacket on like this. Sometimes I put a button up. So I kind of changed it up a little bit. So I like what you got going on. So, Coach, when you're recruiting, what are you listening to on the road?
I'm listening to podcasts for the most part. If it's not a podcast, it's probably praise and worship music, more than anything. But John Maxwell's leadership podcast, they have some recruiting podcasts. I'm not gonna give all my secrets away, but like they got a lot of information out there that you can listen to that is very, very valuable, and that can be a really, really good use of your time when it comes down to being in a car for two or more hours. Um, but yeah, it's probably gonna be a podcast or some gospel music. Now, if I know I got to go into a fight, I might throw some J. Cole in there or something. But other than that, I'm gonna be praising the Lord on the way.
Amen. That's what's up, man. Somebody else said that too. I think Coach Adams said that too when she traveling is praise and worship. Coach, here's one of our popular questions of the show. But again, you're going to do both sides of it, the WNBA and the NBA. Our most popular question is being each coach gives their all-time starting five. So, Coach, I want to hear your all-time starting five for the NBA. And then, of course, we showing love to our women. I want you to tell me your all-time starting five on the women's side.
All right. I'll start with the women.
Okay.
And I'll go Sue Bird, um, Maya Moore. I love Maya when she played. Man, I wish I could see more of her.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I gotta get a shooter. It's I'm gonna be young and I'm gonna say Kelsey Plum.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would put Arike Ogunbowale in there, but I'm gonna go Kelsey because I think she's got a better percentage right now.
Yeah.
Uh, Brittany Griner and Candace Parker,
Mm-hmm.
and then NBA point guards Curry, hands down. MJ, uh, LeBron. If I gotta win a series, I'm gonna throw Dennis Rodman in there at the 4 and Shaq at the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just you gotta have somebody that just doesn't care. And Dennis Rodman is that person. He's gonna go get the rebound. He's gonna like fly through the air and just do what's needed on the defensive end. If you got 20 and 0, I gotta respect you. Or 0 and 20. No
Yeah.
points, all rebounds. I gotta respect it.
Man, that was amazing to see. I know a couple, I guess in the Golden State, might have been the Lakers series. No, it was Golden State and Sacramento Kings series. The guy Looney, man, he had a lot of, I think he had like 22 offensive rebounds, or maybe have been rebounds total, but 22 rebounds in general is good. So I like that. So, Coach, looking at your list, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, of course, you got Kelsey Plummer, Brittany Griner, and of course CP, which is Candace Parker. Love that lineup, man. I'm like you. I would have loved to see Maya do um, play more, but obviously we know she had a greater cause, and we kind of talked about that earlier before we started the show about just people falling into their calling. Curry, I said this last episode. Steph Curry is getting more. You would think Magic, but Steph Curry is getting more and more bids by our coaches. And I told Coach Carlisle, I don't know if it's because we got young coaches on here or Curry is really becoming that guy. And I think it's more the latter part. He's really becoming that guy. MJ has been on this is episode 24. This is episode 23. I'm sorry. He's 23 and 0. LeBron has
That's
been
a good number.
it is, I know, right? That's perfect, man. I don't know if you did it on purpose or not, coach. And Dennis Rodman is a new guy out here. Dennis, this is his first time making a list. And again, you have to, and every coach understands this pick. You gotta have somebody who's gonna do the dirty work. So, coach, I like both lineups that you have. Coach, I'm gonna ask you two more questions and then I'll get your last shot. Coach, what's your favorite sport to watch other than basketball?
I really like watching football. I think that, it's just a fun sport to watch. I support Mississippi State. But my brother and sister played soccer growing up, so I've learned to love that. And we're actually bringing in soccer here next year for men and women. So I'm excited to kind of watch that on campus. Now, I don't watch it on TV, but uh, being at the game, like if I can enjoy being at the game watching soccer.
I feel the same way about baseball. Like baseball's hard to
Yeah,
watch on TV, but going to a game is a whole lot better.
yeah.
Last one, coach. What's the best arena you ever been in or you ever played at? Obviously, I know East Mississippi was definitely gonna be on your list. You can't say East Mississippi, but what's the best arena that you've been in, played in, maybe watched the game? What's the best arena you've seen?
Um, that's hard for me because being in the SEC, it's not necessarily about kind of how the when I played, it's not necessarily about how the arena looked, but I remember how they felt.
Yeah,
And now the toughest place I ever played was Arkansas when Bobby Porter was there. The floor would literally shake from how loud it was in there. That was pretty crazy. And then, but the nicest one was probably Tennessee. They had skybox seats. indoors at a college, and I was just impressed with the arena and the facilities. But now I got to give credit to Ole Miss because that pavilion is nice, and I know Mississippi State is doing their best to like one up it right now,
Yeah.
but that place is nice.
It is, man. And coach, you know you're a good guy because you being a Mississippi State guy giving credit to Ole Miss, man.
I
You
look, it's hard to say sometimes, but Coach Yo, now she's done an amazing job there, and I got to meet her and know her when I was at Kahoma, and I mean she's just one that's hungry and wants to show that it can be done there. So I got to give credit where credit's due, but it's bleeding maroon and white.
yeah, I know. That's good stuff, coach. All right, coach, this is the last shot. Again, this is the conclusion. And so with the last shot segment, we allow our coaches to be able to end the show. And it can end on anything they may want to talk about, share, spotlight. There's no time limit on it. So Coach Butler, take the last shot.
Man, I thank you for the opportunity. First off, I really appreciate it. I know that, like I said, I've done my research. I've watched some episodes in preparation for coming on here, and you've done an amazing job. And I just want to, let the people know out there that East Mississippi is an option. I got to plug the program. We got some hardworking people over here that are doing good things for kids. Got some signees coming up that I'm excited to, announce once they do their job. But man, it's if you want to be in a program where you're gonna be loved, you're gonna be taken care of, and you're gonna be worked and pushed to your potential, not your limit. I think it's a great opportunity for you, and I just know that you can go anywhere from school, and I'm gonna keep saying it. So I appreciate your time, and this has been awesome. This has been really fun.
Coach Butler, I appreciate it, man. This actually, I enjoyed. I probably say this on probably every episode, man. This has kind of been a highlight for me. Again, the podcast was created, kind of put on my heart to spotlight coaches, give coaches an opportunity locally to share our stories and just grow. But man, the relationships and the conversations and the notes that I'm gaining has been a blessing to me. So I know it's blessing other people because a lot of people call me or they have called me after the show or say, man, what such and such said was so good. So what to all my coaches who have been on and those who are upcoming to be on, people are really watching and they are very appreciative of the information that you are sharing. I said this on my last few episodes and I'm going to say it again too. Support Coach Butler in East Mississippi. And I said this in the matter of support them. Obviously, keep praying for them. Obviously, show up to the games. But a lot of times, our programs, we need help financially. And coach didn't pay me to say this. Nobody's paying me to say this. I just know as a high school coach, the things we need. But I know things that colleges need. So I've been saying these last few episodes, support your local colleges, support your local high schools. Reach out to the coaches. And like I said on the previous episode, and they don't need you to help them coach. They don't need you in the stands trying to do all that. But man, see what they need because the donation that you have, or maybe you have a business or you have a company, it may do wonders for them. So support your local colleges, support your local JUCOs, high school, junior high, even your Division I programs. I know they have a little bit more, but see what they can do. And I think Coach Butler, again, is another great coach. Again, I don't have any favorites. I love all my college coaches, but I'm gonna plug my guy, Coach Butler, as well. I mean, you can see for yourself the interview, you can see his energy, you can see his passion, you can see his detail, you can see his caring heart, you can see the family atmosphere that he wants to promote at his school. So look into East Mississippi, as well as my other coaches who have been on the podcast as well. But on this episode 23, if you're watching this episode, it's for a reason. Check out Coach Butler and check out Scuba Mississippi and really be a part of what Coach Butler said earlier in the show. Championships and winning is the standard. And if that's what you're looking for, then East Mississippi is the right place for you. So before we end the episode, as I always say, be nice to someone, be kind, and we'll see you on the next episode.